Good Friday evening, everybody. Meteorologist Johnny Lively here to do our Friday evening show and weekend forecast sponsored by HB Neal Construction. Here's our radar. Not much to talk about today, but we can talk about our sponsor of Dana Simmons Real Estate Team. Thank you so much for being our radar sponsor. We can see there's not much going on here. That's because that cold front kicked out all of our moisture. There's no showers, there's no moisture, there's no rain, setting the stage for a wonderful Friday night football forecast here across the region. That boundary continues to push offshore. We don't see anything in the state of Texas, nothing in Louisiana, really setting the stage for a wonderful forecast for this weekend. Temperatures right now, thanks to our sponsor of Do Good Credit Union, we can show you along the interstate corridor. You can see at Houston, it's currently 87 degrees. Beaumont currently at 84. Orange at 82. Lake Charles at 85. And as you get over to Lafayette, they're at 83. Down towards the coast into the low to mid 80s. Further to the north, they are into the mid to upper 80s. Now, overnight tonight, they're going to get a little bit cooler, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But let's check out Friday Night Football. It is Week 5. Thanks to our sponsor, Silsby Fleet Group. We can show you can't get any better of a Friday Night Football forecast. No rain in sight, setting the stage for a really good matchup across the region. You can see temperatures will start off into the low 80s, and then we'll start getting into the mid to upper 70s as we get into halftime, and by fourth quarter, we'll be sneaking into the upper 60s to low 70s. So you can't get any better than that. And that is all due to the upper level flow that we're seeing. Lots of dry air coming from the north. This is thanks to our sponsor of Neutron Electrical Services. We can show you that trough continues to bring in that drier air into our region. And how long is it going to do that? Well, we can show you as we look at our atmospheric moisture chart. We can see lots of dry air not only just through this weekend, but even into early next week. Now, let's slide over towards the East Coast. You see all of that purple, parts of that is in the blue, then you get the darker shaded region. That is likely going to be Imelda that will be pushing towards parts of Georgia, but getting into South and North Carolina. We'll talk more on that just a bit. But if we look here locally, dry air is going to be sticking into our region really all the way until middle to end of next week. Now, as we get into Thursday, might get a little bit of that moisture from Imelda tried to sling our way. We'll see if we get any showers. Right now, we're saying that we're going to be on the dry side. Might be able to go with 10% coverage on Thursday, but other than that, this is a pretty darn dry forecast that we're going to see the next 5 to 7 days. It's not until Friday and Saturday of next week that we start seeing some of that moisture start coming into our region, and we'll talk more on that as this weekend as we get into early next week. But let's talk about the Futurecast sponsored by Modern Concrete Materials. We can put this in motion. You can see nothing this evening, nothing tonight. Any rain at all is going to be well offshore of our region. I think this is overdone in the cloud cover that we're going to see on Saturday and Sunday, but we'll see. Plenty of sunshine is what we're expecting. Temperatures will still get into the mid to upper 80s throughout the day, but no rain in sight, not at least the next 5 to 7 days. Here's the overnight lows that we will be seeing. Look further to the north. They'll be getting into the upper 50s to low 60s along the Interstate 10 corridor. We'll be into the mid 60s to upper 60s, and down towards the coast will be into the low 70s, like High Island at 71. Galveston will be a little bit warmer. Galveston always finds a way to be a little bit warmer than everybody else. They'll be at 78 degrees. But other than that, not a bad forecast here. I mean, areas along the Interstate 10 corridor could be around 62 degrees in the morning. High temperatures tomorrow should be across the board of the mid to upper 80s. Don't think anybody will get into the 90-degree mark. Maybe Conroe will attempt it, but other than that, we have so much dry air coming into our region. It's kind of like we're in central Texas. We can still get those temperatures into the mid to upper 80s. We have so much dry air. We don't have any moisture or cloud cover to really keep our temperatures a little bit lower than that. So we still warm up during the afternoon and evening time hours, but really the evening and nights and mornings, since we kick out the humidity here in Southeast Texas, we're loving it. Anytime we kick out humidity, we're definitely happy campers, and that's what we're going to be like the next couple of mornings. Watching the tropics, we have lots to talk about here, but none of it is going to be an issue for the Gulf. Nothing's going to be an issue for us here locally. But let's put this in motion. Let's look over here towards Humberto. Humberto is that pretty well-organized hurricane. This is now a major hurricane. Notice this morning it was developing an eye wall. Bam, there's that eye. This is a very impressive storm, large hurricane, and is going to continue to be impressive really the next couple of days. And we'll show you this as this future track that we're seeing here. So it is currently a Category 3 hurricane, 115 mile per hour winds, but this is expected to become a high-end Category 4 as we get into Sunday and Monday. Could be knocking on the door as a Category 5, But one thing we know about this storm is this is not going to be an issue for any land at all. We will watch this put on a show on satellite imagery, and it will eventually curve away. But what Humberto is doing is pretty much shoving this, what we're calling potential tropical cyclone number 9. This will likely become Tropical Storm Imelda. Yes, Tropical Storm Imelda from 2019, I guess you could say, has pretty much is back, has returned. Should have been retired in my name, the name, but here we are. There should be Tropical Storm Imelda this weekend as it passes through the Bahamas. And then by Tuesday, this will start approaching parts of Georgia and then pushing into South Carolina as we get into Tuesday evening. So notice that cone. It gets very large there at the end. There's lots of uncertainty where exactly it goes. But one thing that we're seeing is that this is going to be somewhat of a slow-moving system for parts of Georgia, parts of South Carolina, and parts of North Carolina. This is also the 1-year anniversary pretty much with Helene last year that brought devastating flooding to the Carolinas. So how much rain are we talking? Because this area doesn't need to see it again just like last year, but there is a potential for some heavy rainfall, flash flooding, and possibility of catastrophic flash flooding. Up to 5, 6, 7 inches can be possible, and if this truly is a slow-moving storm, we know how tropical systems are. The potential for 8 inches of rain, if not up to 9, 10 inches of rain, cannot be ruled out. So this does look like it will bring some pretty big impacts to parts of the Carolinas as we start getting into Monday, especially Tuesday evening into early Wednesday morning. You're talking storm surge along the Carolinas from this system, heavy rainfall from this system. Winds will be coming in with this system, so this will be an issue for the Carolinas. But again, nothing going on here locally in the Gulf. Here's our 7-day forecast across the board here in Southeast Texas. Looks really good. Plenty of sunshine the next 5 to 7 days. If we see any rain, it's going to be very spotty, possibly on Thursday. And we'll continue to keep watching if any moisture starts returning by the end of the week into next weekend. But right now, we're talking about low humidity, low dew points. Can't get any better in the mornings. We see those temperatures into the upper 80s, start getting into the low 90s as we get into middle of next week. Southwest Louisiana, same thing. Plenty of sunshine. Mornings and evenings and nights look very, very good. We're talking 62 degrees on Saturday morning, 63 degrees on Sunday morning, and then a slow, gradual warming trend really as we start getting into early to middle of next week. But not a bad forecast at all. Any outdoor activities looks very well. Lucas has taken a trip to Mississippi State. He will be watching live Mississippi State versus Tennessee tomorrow night in Starkville. So if you're a big SEC fan, really good matchup. I'm definitely jealous that Lucas will be able to see the trip. So that's the reason you're seeing me this evening. Lucas will be back on Sunday. So thank y'all so much for tuning in to the Friday evening show. I will see y'all tomorrow morning. And thank you again. Have a good Friday evening and have a wonderful weekend.